everybody, and welcome. We are ready to go on another hike on this pretty cold December day. It is late fall. I'm so glad that you decided to join me. You know, it is a bit nipply out. I mean, not nippy. Nippy. You know, not nipply. Nipple as in nipple, like as if you had a nipple. I mean, not that you have a nipple. I mean, well, of course you do. Everybody does. But I mean nippy, like it's nippy out. And it is cold today, but it's great, actually. It feels great. I'm wearing just a t-shirt and a jacket. It's funny, though, because it's 40 degrees out, and I know that if someone from California came here right now, and they were to go on this hike, they'd be, like, shivering and wearing layer after layer, and it still wouldn't be enough. They'd be like, oh, my God, it's too cold out here. I just can't. And their teeth would be shattering, and I'm just, like, in a t-shirt going, what's the problem? I'm getting a suntan later. So, yes. It is a bit nipply out. Today's video, we are going to talk about my connection to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I actually have a very long history with this movie. But before we get there, if you are new to the channel, my name is Mike, and what I do here is show you point-of-view hiking videos. You get to see what I see in beautiful 4K as we go along the hiking trail. And as we go along, I tell you some sort of entertaining story. I post a new video every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Friday is when I tell you a story, but Wednesday I let you enjoy the sights and the sound of what's around me. So that way you don't have to listen to me go on and on and on and on and on. I just do a quick little introduction, and then I shut my yapper and let you enjoy the sounds of nature, of me walking and breathing heavily, and clearing my throat, and screaming, and yelling at squirrels and birds to shut the hell up. You know, things like that. You know, a normal day. I also would like to ask that you subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. It really helps the channel. It helps the channel grow and helps the algorithms, so YouTube then will show this to other people. Because otherwise, it ain't going to get out there. Nobody's going to see it. And I'm basically talking to a wall. And if you liked the video, be sure to give that like button a really good smack. A good smack right across its face. You know, not too hard though, but hard enough. So that thumb goes upward. And you know, with YouTube's new upgrades on the channel, when you actually smack that like button, you see like a special effect happen. You know, like it really is being smacked right in the face. So, by the way, for those of you going, it's not smack, it's smash. Yes, I am aware. I don't know why everybody and their mother has to say smash. I saw a video with a woman who's 98 years old, who does her own cooking show, and she says, okay, and remember, if you liked the video, be sure to smash that like button. Okay, I didn't see a video like that, but still, everybody's saying it. And I don't like to be like everybody. So just smack it. Smack that like button. All right, today we are talking about National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I have a very interesting history with this movie. And I had missed it when it aired for the first time on HBO. And I don't know how HBO does things now. I haven't had HBO in a while. But back then, they would premiere a new movie on a Saturday night, and it would be a big deal. HBO's Movie of the Week, and it would be whatever. So this particular time frame, it was towards the beginning of December. It was National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and I missed it. I so badly wanted to see it, but I missed it. I don't know why. I don't know what I was doing on Saturday night as a kid. I certainly couldn't have been doing anything. Probably wallowing in misery in my own bedroom, which was in the basement, away from everybody else. I was in a mood at that point in time. You know? That young teenager mood. Just leave me alone! Don't talk to me! I'm gonna sit here in my room and wallow in my own misery! I hate everybody! Yeah! So now it is Tuesday, and HBO would show the movie of the week again and repeat it on Tuesday for the first time. Before it would go in rotation and then be like, you know, next Thursday, next Sunday, Monday morning, every day. But Tuesday was always the official second showing. And so I turned on the TV and it had already started. I had missed maybe the first 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, it's Christmas Vacation. Now, at this time, I was a huge fan of Chevy Chase. Huge. I watched all of his movies probably 1,000 times each. Three Amigos, Fletch, Funny Farm. I loved Funny Farm. Still do. And the list goes, Modern Problems, and I know I'm forgetting a lot. There's just so many great movies. Spies Like Us. So I just loved his... Caddyshack. How can I forget Caddyshack? And so I loved Clark Griswold. He became my favorite movie character out of anybody, and still is to this day. I see it's on TV. It started late, but I was like, screw it. I got to watch this. So I start watching it, and I just started laughing. And there were scenes that were so funny that I actually would laugh so hard I would miss the next scene. And this happened a lot. I just kept missing scenes. And then I laughed so hard. This happened at least 3 times. I fell off my chair onto the floor. Like, I couldn't hold it together. And I laughed so hard I completely lost all function of my body and fell to the floor and then couldn't get up. I was laughing so hard. I had tears in my eyes and had uncontrollable laughter. I think of some of the scenes, like the first time I saw The Shitter Is Full, Aunt Bethany and Uncle Lewis, that whole sequence. Christmas Eve, everything that was happening, the exploding turkey, Uncle Lewis burning the tree down, the cat getting electrocuted. I mean, just endless laughter. Endless laughter. But unfortunately, I had to go. I had to leave. I was not able to finish watching it. So I ended up that particular year, this would have been 1990, I must have watched the movie that year about 10 times. First, because I kept missing so much, so I had to keep going back to see all the stuff I was missing. And then because I just loved it. So from that point on, every Christmas I would watch it at least a couple of times. Now we cut to 1993. I now have my own comedy TV show, a local TV show in my state, and to my surprise, my show is very successful. I was stunned by that. I did not expect that. But we became the top-rated show on our cable channel, and we had a great audience, and we're doing really well. And just briefly, my show was a talk variety show. I always like to explain it this way, that we were a combination of Letterman and Saturday Night Live. But yeah, it was on television. We would air Friday nights at 10, which was perfect. What shocked me more than anything is when the most popular kids in school would come up to me and say, hey, I love your show. I don't even go out on Fridays anymore because I stay home so I could watch your show. And that surprised me because, well, you remember the popular kids. That's what they do. They go out on Friday and Saturday nights while you're sitting home being the loser, in the basement of your parents' home, wallowing in your own misery saying, I hate everybody. The popular kids are out living it up. They're going to the movies. They're going on dates. They're hanging out at the beach. And now they're not because they're watching me on TV. It was, I was surprised by that. Here's the other cool thing, though. We got to have top choice in when our show aired over anybody else who had a television show or series at the cable channel. So we got to choose our schedule, which was awesome. And we would air on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. So I didn't want to just do a standard episode. I wanted to do something special for the audience. And that's when I decided that what we would do is a Christmas movie of the week, a Christmas special, but it would be a movie starring the cast. And we wouldn't do it in a talk show format or any of that. We would actually build a set and all this stuff, go all out. So the first year we did A Christmas Carol, but we called it Scrooge. It was terrible. It was the very first official movie I ever made. It was about 60 minutes long, and it is just horrible. I don't even know why people liked it. Seriously, it aired on television, and people said they liked it. And I don't know why, because it sucks. So now it is a year later, and our show is hugely successful. It is much more, even though it's still low budget, is much better quality. Our camera's better, our style is better, which we're much more professional. And I have a bold idea. And I tell my cast, look, I want to do a Christmas movie this year, but I want to do a movie. Not a 60-minute movie, like an hour and a half to a 2-hour long movie. And I want to go all out. Like, we're going to go and pre-record all these episodes of the show, and then we're going to take a month. And however long it takes, we'll get this done. But I want a movie. And I had two choices. We were either going to do A Christmas Story or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And that was the decision that I made. And the rest of the cast was on board and thought it was, yeah, great. Like, I had to be Clark Griswold because I'm sort of like Clark Griswold. You know, like, one of the things I loved about the vacation movies is that Clark Griswold is fairly nice through most of it. Until the end, when he finally has enough and he snaps. In the first vacation movie, when he has tried his hardest, he is determined to get to Wally World, he's trying to give his family a nice vacation, and all this bad shit keeps happening, but he keeps fighting forward, and finally, like, his family has had enough, and they're all bitching and moaning, and Ellen just looks to him and says, I think she said, well, what do you think, Clark? And he goes, what do I think? I think you're all fucked in the head! And he just goes through this whole scene where he's swearing and he's had enough and he's like, he loses it. And I love that. And I am like that. I could be pushed and pushed and pushed, and I will fight hard not to react to it until finally I have enough, and then I go off. I remember a moment where I went off on a boss I had. I'm shocked I didn't get fired. But he was pushing me, not in being a jerk about it, but he just wasn't listening to me. And he kept doing this one thing, this big mistake he kept making over and over again. And I would talk to him about it and say, you got to stop doing that because of this, this, and this. It makes my job more harder. Oh, yeah, sure, I'm sorry about that. And then he would do it again. And finally, one day, I lost it. I have never yelled like that in my entire life to this day. I yelled so loud, and this anger came out of me like an insane mad person. I was stunned myself that it came out of me. So yes, I relate to Clark Griswold. It took some planning, but I didn't want to waste time. This was September when we made this decision, and I immediately got to work. I started watching the movie in September, over and over and over again. I wanted to know every line. I wanted to design our movie by the sets. I wanted to learn how they were doing the camera shots and the lighting and the audio. I wanted to learn everything I could about it. But I didn't have the internet at the time, and the internet was fairly new. A few kids at school had it, but I didn't. I didn't even have a computer. So I couldn't go look anything up. So I had to just watch the movie to figure it out on my own. And there wasn't any behind-the-scenes specials on TV or any of that I could watch. So I would just watch my VHS tape over and over and over. And then I would build set pieces. I built my own fake squirrel. I went up to my art teacher and said, hey, if I was to sculpt a squirrel, what would be the best clay to use? He walks back into the back of the art class. And he comes back out with this big block of clay. And he goes, this stuff here would be good. I'm like, oh, cool. Where would I get that? Oh, here. This is yours. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, take it. I thought that was like the nicest thing. So, yeah, I build my own squirrel out of clay. I use marbles for eyes. But here's the thing. I could never find a tail. And I couldn't make the tail out of clay. So for our movie, the squirrel had no tail. And then I used fishing line to move it around, have it hanging off my back. Someone hid inside the tree to have it jump out of the tree. We used stop motion to make it run across the floor when the dog was chasing it. And here's the thing. My dog was a Rottweiler, just like Snots. We even used butter to put on his face to make it look like Snot. I converted my entire basement where my set for my TV show was into the Griswold's living room. And it was pretty good, actually. The layout of my house is similar to their layout, actually. Very close. Like, everything's in the same position. The kitchen is in the same spot. The living room's in the same spot. Dining room in the same spot. The staircase, everything. All in the same exact layout. So I was able to replicate that set. I only had a budget of like $100. So with that $100, me and my co-producers went to a Kmart and we bought a fake Christmas tree and a bunch of Christmas decorations, So that is how it began. And then we went off. And I did not expect it to be what it ended up being. It took us about 2 months to make this, working almost every day. At first, I thought we would just shoot it on weekends. And that was the plan. It would take about 3 weekends. We would shoot the whole movie then. But it became as involved as an actual Hollywood film production. Like, it took up so much time and so much work between the setup and the camera and the microphone and actually filming our scenes. And it was just a very long process. And yeah, it was like a full-on production. So it got to the point where I'd go to school. The cast would come join me on my school bus. We'd all go to my house and we'd start shooting right away. And then we wouldn't finish until 8 or 9 o'clock at night and do it again the next day. I was eat and breathing and sleeping it. It was all I did. My grades suffered for it. My grades went from A's and B's to C's and D's. And I was at this point where I thought, I don't give a crap. Why do I need to go to school? I know what I want to do for a living. It's this. I want to do this and I'm doing it. So why do I need school? I mean, it was a stupid thought. So ultimately, it took us roughly 2 months to do, shooting every day. It was extremely stressful, a hell of a lot of work, could be extremely frustrating at times, yet I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was like, I felt so good. Like I was living my dream. Not only was I finally making an actual movie, but it was our version of my favorite movie. And I was just loving it. It was so much fun. We had so many laughs. I mean, we lost it so many times on the set. And it was just so much fun. The other thing, too, my parents had been divorced for a few years. And we didn't really have Christmases anymore like I used to when I was a kid. We'd wake up Christmas morning, kind of reluctantly go walk into the living room. My mother had just a couple of gifts for us. We were all broke and couldn't get her anything, which sucked. We'd open the gifts up. We'd say, thanks, Mom. And then we'd leave. I'd go to my bedroom. My brothers go to their bedroom. I think my sister was the only one who would stay because she was really young and play with her toys. And then that was it. And then we'd get called up to have dinner. So we'd have our Christmas dinner and then we'd walk our separate ways again. So it really wasn't a big family celebration. Now, I was living Christmas. It was my every waking thought. And I got very close with my cast. It was like they had become part of my family. And it was fantastic. We finished the movie. We did not reach our deadline, unfortunately. Our deadline was supposed to be December 23rd. And I was going to edit the movie that night and go drop it off at the TV station on Christmas Eve. And they were going to air it at 8 p.m. and then air it again Christmas morning at 9 a.m. And we didn't make it. We just didn't make it. We didn't finish. We had the actress who was playing Ellen wasn't able to shoot her scenes until December 26th. So we had to wait for her. So then we shot all of her stuff between December 26th to the 28th. So we had 3 more shooting days. And that's when things got tough. The temperatures had dropped to below 0. We had snow, which actually was great because the snow looked great for the movie. But the temperatures on our very last night of shooting on December 28th was so bad that it actually affected our film equipment. The equipment just wasn't running correctly, but it was way below 0. So we had to do things in shifts. I had a fire going on in the basement to keep everybody warm, and then we would do it in shifts. I'd be like, all right, we're going to shoot with you guys. Come outside now. Let's go shoot with you. Everybody go out, shoot their scenes. They're all freezing their ass off. They'd go back in. The next group would come out. But I had to stay outside for the whole time. It was fine. And then as soon as we finished that day, I went downstairs to my bedroom basement. I grabbed all the videotapes, which I think was like 13 to 15 VHS videotapes full of footage, and I started editing. And you know how I was editing this movie? VCR to VCR. That's how I did it. I didn't have professional editing equipment. It was terrible. So it did finally make it to air on New Year's Eve a week later. But yeah. Let's cut to about a month ago. And I get this notification that Christmas Vacation is coming to my state for a special screening. Now, I have gone and seen the movie in theaters in recent years because movie theaters will re-show it around the holiday season. And it's becoming more and more popular. I'm noticing there's a lot more showings of it now than there was before because the movie just keeps getting more and more popular with each generation. So I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. But then I noticed that Chevy Chase is actually going to be at the screening. And I just think to myself, oh, that is amazing. Not only was he my favorite comic actor growing up, but he was Clark Griswold, and so was I. And how cool would that be for things to come full circle, especially for the fact that I am roughly the age he was when he played Clark Griswold in the movie. So to come full circle and now be in a screening with the actual Clark Griswold. And so that is exactly what happened. About 2 days ago, I attended the screening, and after the movie was over, Chevy Chase came out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what it was like to see this movie after all these years with all these people. I'm sure everybody there, has seen the movie hundreds of times. It is a tradition for many people to watch it every Christmas. Some people multiple times. I now limit it to once a year. Although this year, because it came out on 4K, I do want to see it in 4K. So I will watch it a second time. But what was amazing about this experience was being there with all these people like me who love the movie as much as I do. And hearing them cheer on parts and laugh. And like when Cousin Eddie first comes on, he got big laughs. And Chevy Chase's facial reactions, which I always wondered if everybody else noticed that. How he can just act with his face without saying anything. And it's funny. It was an amazing experience to be there with all of these people. And it was a rowdy crowd. I mean, I have never been... I've been to rock concerts with mosh pits and everything, and it wasn't as rowdy as this. These people were rowdy and wild. And I was surprised by that. And even when Chevy Chase came out, they're shouting at him and yelling things at him. And he was playing along, joking back and all that. But it was a very cool experience. And to learn about the movie and behind the scenes stuff, things we never even knew about, very, very cool. He recited his famous scene when he gets his Christmas bonus. Holy shit, where's the Tylenol? That scene. And it was pretty cool. So if you do get a chance to see it, he is going around the country, and he does this, I guess, every year, whether it's with Christmas Vacation, Caddyshack, Three Amigos. He does these showings and then does Q&A at the end of it. So very cool experience. So here's how things totally come full circle. The show ended with a selfie that he did with the whole audience. And you can actually see me with right next to him in the photo. I mean, I look really tiny, and but I'm going to show you that photo right now. There's a little circle. So there you have it. 2 Clark Griswolds. I mean, I know he'll never know that. He'll never know about the movie or probably even see the clips. And I think about that 17-year-old who actually turned 18 during our production, playing Clark Griswold, who eventually would end up in the same room with the real guy and be in a selfie with him. Pretty cool. And that selfie is on his official Instagram page. How cool is that?
And now, a shameless plug.
That's right, it is time for another shameless plug. This is where I promote something of mine, and I have no shame about promoting it. I feel no guilt whatsoever. It's a shameless plug, and today I'm plugging Santa Claus. Okay, that did not sound right at all. I'm not plugging Santa Claus as if I'm plugging him. Not that I had a plug, but if I had a plug, it's not. No, not that. No, get that out of. No, you dirty no. Actually, I am Santa Claus. Let me show you. Oh, ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Well, hello there! It's me, Santa Claus! And for a limited time, I am recording personalized videos for you. It can be a message for a child, a friend, a co-worker, promotional videos for your business, announcements, or just a nice heartwarming message. The video comes in full 1080 high def, wonderful stereo sound, and a super fast turnaround. After all, I am Santa. Oh, ho, 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 ho. I also offer fantastic gig extras like text graphics, your logo, royalty-free background music, my Santa static interruption effect like this, and green screen if you want to add your own background later on. If you are looking for something more naughty, check out my Drunk Bad Santa gig, also available right here. So what are you waiting for? I'm taking orders right now, exclusively here on Fiverr.com. Merry Christmas! Oh, ho, 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 ho.